Hello everyone, this is part 13 of What If Naruto Had a Hug That Changed Everything, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Wherever the hell Sasuke is, he'd better not weasel his way out of this, Naruto thought. Shikamaru's eyes narrowed at the new matchups. Well, what the hell? Did Mega Man, Dosu retire, he thought. After deciding that the Genin had enough time to look at the new matchups, Genma stuffed the paper back in this vest. Alright, we can't delay this any longer. If Sasuke Uchiha doesn't show when his match begins, then he'll lose by default, he said. The Genin was silent. Now, we'll get this show on the road. The first match. Naruto Uzumaki, and Neji Hyuga. At hearing those delicious words, Naruto's smile widened until he slightly bared his teeth. Neji shifted a stare to the opponent beside him and glared at him. He's different from before, somehow. But, no matter, this match is already over, the pale-skinned Hyuga thought confidently. Genma bit down upon his hay stick, before perking the tip of it up. Now, the rest of you make your way to the balcony, he ordered. As the other Genin willingly complied, the two chosen combatants retained their side-to-side position. Within one of the crowded audience platforms, Kiba and Hinata made their way down the stairs. Aha! Here are some empty seats, Hinata, Kiba informed, motioning his friend. The violet-haired female took her time walking down the steps, given her current condition, thanks to her own fight with Neji. When the two shinobi found their seats and took them, they saw that they were just in time to see the fight. But, something was odd. Wait a minute. 1 minute later, wasn't Neji supposed to be fighting Naruto? Kiba asked in confusion as he streaked USD the figures below, cause I don't see him. Was there some sort of mistake? Hearing this was actually a bit entertaining for Hinata, who covered her hand over her mouth to futilely contain a giggle at her friend's ignorance. Kiba caught this and stared at the young Hyuga. What? HM. Look closely, Kiba-kun, she said, not willing to divulge the big secret. There was no mistake. Doing as he was told, the wily-haired dog lover squinted his eyes to clarify his visions, only to have them nearly blast out of his head with sheer surprise. No way. That's Naruto, Kiba exclaimed when he realized who was standing next to Neji. You've got to be kidding me. That fierce look and savage that looks like he can melt your face just by looking at it, is Naruto. Where'd he get the cool threads? Hinata blushed a bit, before overhearing the voices that belonged to the elite Chunin test examiners, Kotetsu Hagen and Izumo Kamizuki. To think that Uzumaki boy would even make it this far, given that he has failed a countless number of times. Guess he finally got sick of it, Izumo said while smiling. Kotetsu mimicked the smile. Whether he made it this far or not, you have to admit that he got the short end of the stick, being stuck in a match with a Hyuga prodigy like Neji, he protested. Hell, even if you are right, it looks like the boys learned a few things during the month intermission. He looks more than just a little confident in his abilities, let alone his ability to win, Izumo countered. Hey, I'll give you that one, but him actually beating Neji is not something I can see too well. That kid's no match for a member of the Hyuga clan, Kotetsu remarked confidently. Hearing the end of the conversation caused Hinata to frown deeply and, for the love of Jesus, actually made her eye twitch with irritation. Kiba, on the other hand, simply smirked since he heard the whole conversation as well. Ha. No. Believe me when I say that I thought the exact same thing and, well, yeah. I think you'll soon learn not to underestimate this knucklehead, gentleman, Kiba thought with confidence, before shifting a seriously focused look on the development, yet to unfold. But even if Naruto has gotten a lot stronger since his fight with me, he'd better tread softly while fighting someone who's mastered Hyuga-style taijutsu. No close combat, Naruto. Back down to the arena, the still smiling Naruto and Neji increased the distance between each other and stood in opposition. Neji faced Naruto immediately, but the shaggy-haired Genin kept his side turned and his battle-lusting smile fresh and uns. Seeing this caused an unintentional smile to cross the Hyuga's own face, before he steadily activated his famous Byakugan and focused on his opponent. Yes, he seems to have undergone quite the training since we last met, his confidence is unwavering. He doesn't seem hesitant at all, Neji pondered to himself as he took his stance, readying himself for combat. Excellent. Things should get a lot more interesting this way, despite the inevitable result. Nope. Nothing, not even a bat of the eye. Naruto simply stood there with his beaming smile and widened eyes, flashing with anticipation and a desire for combat. The black-clad nin began to tremble wildly at the tension as he expelled a series of excited chuckles. Neji's demeanor never faltered. That's right. Keep that little smirk glued on your face. Give me the pleasure of spinning it clean off, he mocked. This time, Naruto's smile lowered into a very penetrating frown before turning his head to face his opponent, while keeping his body still. The low tremor of a growl vibrated from Naruto at that moment as he glared cannonballs at the Hyuga in front of him, the one who nearly killed Hinata. Neji's smile as-lo disappeared as he saw the look on Naruto's face, further hardening his stance. Genma saw the grand sparks of tension grinding off of these two genin and took that as a ringer of sorts. The first match of the final Chunin exam rounds. Begin, the proctor shouted, triggering a frivolous roar of the crowd that echoed throughout Konoha. Neji kept his firm stance and facial feature opposed to the glaring Naruto, who had finally adjusted to face his rival completely. You know, this match has pretty much ended. Giving up would definitely save you a lot of grief and humiliation, he taunted. Why, so I'd lose to pes of branch family trash like you, Naruto roared. Snap. Hearing those words seep out of this defiant mother bear's mouth, nearly snapped Neji's psyche in half with a burning white flash of rage that he did know he possessed, let alone controlled. The pale-skinned genin's face screwed up with raging fury before he blindly charged at the, now, smiling Naruto. Seen as how perfectly that tactic worked, the blue-eyed kitsune suddenly vanished in a flash of unpredictable speed. What? Neji exclaimed before stomping one foot to cease his movement. The second Neji stopped, Naruto reappeared in a blink of an eye. Ramming his head into the Hyuga's face with a painful bash, getting an agonized yell from him. The force of the assault sent Neji flying back a ways, before he flipped his body back to regain his balance. Upon landing on the ground, before sliding back, Neji looked up only to see Naruto dashing at him with speeds that he wasn't capable of a month ago. Neji bent backwards just in time before Naruto could land an accurate spin kick across his head. The blonde genin immediately regained his balance and lounged for a straightforward punch, which Neji effortlessly slapped to the side, causing Naruto's body to fly past him. However, instead of passing up the opportunity, the black-clad boy shifted his body and lifted his leg with just enough time to collide his shin into Neji's face. Naruto scarcely caught himself from falling and landed behind Neji, while the pale-skinned genin staggered on his feet, due to the kick. Taking instant action, Naruto charged at the distraught Hyuga, reeling his fist back, before throwing a punch aimed at the back of his head, which was unexpectedly dodged when Neji ducked and countered with an open palm to his opponent's lower jaw. Stopping for only a mere second, much to Neji's surprise, Naruto retorted with a vicious knee to his face. Neji recovered, shot back to his feet and elbowed the blonde in his abdomen. Naruto quickly followed up with an elbow of his own, except to Neji's left cheek. Already growing sick of this blow-for-blow altercation, the lavender-eyed prodigy switched to a defensive strategy, as Naruto unleashed a barrage of well-aimed attacks that Neji found rather difficult to maneuver around, but was successful in his attempts. Naruto's attacks were wild, but perfectly timed, varied, but surprisingly accurate. He didn't let up, even for an instant. However, given Neji's genius and quick-witted reactions, he saw one tiny opening in one of the blonde's attacks and went for it with a Tenketsu, chakra point, shot. Naruto quickly noticed the danger of his current situation, but smiled confidently. Before Neji's fingers even reached the black-clad genin, he produced the Cage Bushin hand seal before backflipping and simultaneously making a clone in his previous place. With not enough time to pull his attack back, Neji struck the clone upon the sternum area, sending it flying back towards the real Naruto. Promptly landing on his feet after flipping away from his opponent, the foxy genin caught his own clone and fluently spun in a full circle. Using the momentum from the spin, Naruto threw his clone head first, back at Neji, who prepared himself to defend, only to notice the real Naruto vanish with great speed again and reappear a few feet behind him, where he charged vigorously at the startled Hyuga. Despite his situation, Neji solidified his focus in an instant before cartwheeling out of danger. Instead of colliding with his clone, Naruto skeffily caught, whirled around and threw it at Neji again, who had just landed on his feet after his cartwheel. Once again, Naruto vanished and reappeared behind Neji, who smiled knowingly before spinning his body once, allowing the shadow clone to fly past him, before throwing 2 shuriken in the blonde's direction. The one of shuriken lodged into the shadow clone's back, causing it to vanish in the traditional puff of smoke just when it came inches from Naruto, who immediately noticed the other shuriken coming his way. The whisked boy easily caught the weapon and stashed it in his weapon pouch only to notice the Neji was gone. Naruto quickly opened his senses to feel any trace of the Hyuga's presence when all of the sudden, Neji came dashing at him from the side. Naruto shot a wild glare to his incoming opponent before he timingly avoided a troublesome tenketsu shot to the N, leading to an all-or-nothing taijutsu brawl. With both genin dodging, blocking, spinning, countering, and avoiding the attacks of one another, the very force and overall prowess of that particular moment sent wave clouds of dust and debris throughout the diameter of the battle arena. After an agonizing 10 seconds of that, both Naruto and Neji relinquished kunai from their person and struck each other's blade, causing the famous recoil that sent them skidding back from each other. ... And there, they stood with their battle stances hardened and ready. The reason why practically every living soul in that area had these stupefied, blown away looks on their faces was anyone's guess. The level of skill and prowess of both of these genin was far more than anyone would have expected, especially from Naruto. To everyone else who'd thought any less of his chances for victory because he was fighting a prodigy like Neji, was utterly dumbfounded. Sakura, Ino, Hinata, Kiba, Shikamaru, Temari, Kankuro, and hell even the Hokage Kazekage were totally at a loss for words at the way this fight had already come about, much less how it all started. Sarutobi's eyes widened with both surprise and delight. Either Naruto has become a complete jackass during the month's intermission, or that insult to Neji was the single most brilliant mind games tactic I've seen yet. It looks like he's really got under the prodigy's skin, the thought, while paying close attention to the already heated fight. The Yondaime Kazekage simply sat silent and awaited the match's continuation. Even he had to admit that it was nothing to spit at. Sakura failed to notice that she had cupped her hands close to her chest as the fight blazed, and all of her worry seemed to vanish when she saw how clearly heated the fight was. Like most in the crowd, the pink-haired kunoichi was far too shocked and amazed to say anything. She couldn't even think, let alone fathom how Naruto had come so far in his training. But something told her that she had only seen the beginning of Naruto's arsenal. She was already growing excited just thinking about it. Hinata's hands pretty much mimicked Sakura's as she grasped all that she had witnessed. Naruto had become stronger than ever, and to make things interesting, he's combating a master and prodigy of Hyuga-style taijutsu and holding. Every fiber of Hinata's being was joyful to no end that Naruto wasn't getting his ass kicked, but she couldn't show, she was simply too stunned by how fantastic the fight had started. "It, Naruto-kun," the young Hyuga inwardly cheered. Kiba, well, let's just say that he vegged out because of the action, but remained fully alert and aware. The fight was just that damn good, and it could only get better from here. Somewhere off in another audience platform, Tenten was also stunned and amazed at the fight, but mainly Naruto's uncanny performance. What in the world? Neji has his Byakugan activated and is already resorting to the Kentetsu assaults, but he doesn't seem to be able to see through that speed. When did Naruto-kun get so strong? Tenten thought herself. She couldn't imagine how and where the blonde boy had gotten so fast and coordinated, especially enough to combat the admirable Neji in such a way. It was too good to be true, but at the same time, it was too good to miss. Things were definitely gonna get wild. Back down to the battle arena, Neji and Naruto continued their standoff. For the blonde genin, however, he didn't come there to just stand around. No more games, Neji, Naruto flatly warned, gaining a frown from the Hyuga. The black-clad genin then straightened his position to a more subdued position before proceeding to remove his red jacket, revealing his build and Konoha armband on his left arm. After removing that piece of clothing, Naruto simply dropped it to the ground before reaching in both of his pockets and pulling out his hand-plated, fingerless, black gloves. Slipping them both on snugly, Naruto clenched his fists hard enough to crack his knuckles. Then let's continue, shall we? Neji suggested. The very millisecond he finished his sentence, Neji felt the air in the center of his body forcefully expand and retract, before shoot up to his head, then back down again, causing him an excruciating session of nausea that sent him reeling for air. The flabbergasted Hyuga glared downward only to see Naruto with half of his forearm drived into his stomach. Neji's body tensed to a degree that he wasn't used to at all as veins blew out from many different parts of his form. Feeling the level of pain that he had just dealt the bastard, Naruto smiled proudly before looking up and staring mockingly at the pale, no, even paler-skinned Genin as he choked and gasped. Oh my, I'm not doing anything to make you uncomfortable, am I? The blonde Genin mocked. Neji's teeth bared as he intensified his glare. Yeah. I'll show you uncomfortable, you little, he uncharacteristically choked out, before Naruto slowly removed his limb from his opponent's stomach, causing him to roar out in exasperation. Neji stumbled back in a daze of nausea, but kept his Byakugan as steady as ever, before hardening a fighting stance again. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.